You take it, take it, take it. It's button. Yay! We tested a heat shield. It's launching a little slower than the other ones.
Everybody's saying all collectively.
Ah!
Oh my lord.
That's okay.
Jebediah.
He'll survive the trip.
See.
You take it, take it, take it. It's button. Yay! We tested a heat shield. It's launching a little slower than the other ones.
Everybody's saying all collectively.
Ah!
Oh my lord.
That's okay.
Jebediah.
He'll survive the trip.
I've just been handed this statement. Kerbonaut Jebediah Kerman's capsule malfunctioned after re-entry. His parachute failed to fully deploy. The capsule impacted the surface at a high rate of speed. There could be no survival. Thank you.
We so miss you, Jeb. Well, don't need that.
And you're never gonna get him back?
No. Career mode, Jeb's dead. It's sad. We salute you, Jeb.
Oh. Bummer.
So now we owe Jeb, you know, like actually doing things properly now, right? So this time we're going to have a plan. Alright?
Alright. Somebody else is in here with us. I don't know who it is. Hello.
Hello. So here's the plan for our next mission. We need to orbit Kerbal and return the pilot safely to the surface. Safely being key. Here. So, we're going to make a new Jeb-class rocket. We're done with the dinguses. Alright? No more dingus rockets. They're unreliable.
We're going to pay homage to Jeb.
Yes, we're going to make a Jeb-class rocket. We're going to build it from the top down. We have a capsule. We have a parachute. We might have a drogue parachute, depending on how fast we're going. I don't know if we need one. And we may or may not need more heat shield. But then after that, we have a decoupler. We have a deorbit stage. This is going to slow us down so we can get back out of orbit and land. That's going to have fuel and enough of a vacuum engine, which means it's really efficient in the vacuum of space. For about 500 delta V. Delta V is change in velocity, so go from some speed to 500 more than that. Meters per second, I believe it is. Another decoupler, then we have an orbit stage. That's enough fuel and a vacuum engine to get us from the top of our first arc to a circular orbit. And he said that was about 1,000. So we might be able to combine these two stages. We just leave it attached for the time we orbit, and then we turn around and use the same engine to slow down. Maybe. I'm going to do it in 3.
One question.
What's that?
Where's the fins?
Oh, I didn't put the fins on there, didn't I?
No.
So we're going to have decoupler from that stage. Then we have the ascent stage. That's the one that's all in the atmosphere, right? So maybe the orbit stage is going to be spacey. You don't need fins. So the ascent stage is definitely going to need fins. He's got a core. They needed fuel and an atmospheric engine to get to 2,500 total with the boosters. So, all right, let's update this. We need, what do we need here? Ascent stage, double core, fins, booster, maybe booster fins, maybe.
Maybe.
So that's the plan.
Okay.
Alright. Here we are in the game, and there it says we went to the,
Maybe you should change it to 1 minute.
what, 1 minute?
Can the people who are actual followers still not?
You're supposed to be able to chat after following for 2 minutes, I believe is the deal.
Well, how about 1 minute? Because that might have been a real person that we know and like. You just change it on the fly like that?
Yeah, followers 1.
Yeah, there you go. There it is. Well, they were here for at least 1 minute, but then they're not gone.
Yeah,
Okay. Right,
we haven't gotten into the flying yet, so now we're in the actual
Pick
game.
'em.
So sure enough,
Megan Kerman is stupid, but
Why?
a lot of courage.
well, right now we have Bill, Bob, and Valentina. So Valentina is a pilot,
Okay, so
and we need a pilot in order to have the automatic fin control kind of stuff.
none
Right?
of them are pilots.
Valentina is.
Oh,
So
different
we're
then.
gonna have to go send a woman to fix the job the guy screwed up.
Well, that's how it works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does.
Alright, so we leave the oh, it's the middle of the night. Good time for building rockets in the middle of the night, huh?
Cough. Sorry.
Close enough. Alright. Let's see. There's our notes. Get our notes up. There we go. So now they have a system in here where you can manage missions and so forth, but we haven't gotten there.
All I see is your thing.
Which thing? The
Your
notepad page?
spreadsheet.
Alright. So, I'll just read it. So we're going to start with the Jeb class rocket, right? So that's the Jeb 1.
Oh.
So, super important decision. Roman numerals or not Roman numerals. The Jeb I or the Jeb 1?
Jeb 1.
Jeb 1.
Yeah.
Ain't no Romans around here. Alright. First of the Jeb class. Not messing
First foe,
around.
the Jeb class.
Yes. Not messing around with dingus anymore.
Dingus.
Save that. Alright, so we start with the capsule. Yes. And we know we're going to need a parachute.
We need a decoupler.
Well, we first start with a parachute. Now we're going to need do we need a heat shield? So we're coming back, I don't know either. We're coming back from orbit.
So yes,
So
heat shield.
we should probably get
That's
the
why
bigger
everybody
heat
made
shield.
fun of you and let you burn up.
Maybe. So let's throw a heat shield on there. Alright, now do we need a drogue parachute?
What does that mean?
It's a little small parachute that slows you down and then you throw it away and you put out the vanes. Just for safety since we have one.
I don't know what that is. But
Radial mount drogue chute. It's just a really small chute to slow you down rather than to...
that seems just like more payload.
Well, there is that. So that's the trade-off. So we'll see. But we're going to be super safe here. It is the first female Kerbal in our game to go into space.
Oh, Jeb.
Oh, Jeb's
Jeb
gone.
won.
Poor Jeb. Alright, what's our notes here? We got build from the top down, we got a parachute, a drogue, a heat shield, decoupler.
Heat shield.
That seemed like, oh, because of the heat shield, I think? I guess so, huh?
Yeah.
Oh no, there it goes. That's better. Alright, so now the last thing on the ground is the capsule, right? Before that, just before that is a parachute, just before that's a drogue chute, just before that is a heat sheet. Now we gotta get into orbit. Or we gotta get out of orbit. So we need fuel and enough engine to slow us down. So let's go get some fuel. Let's see what a big tank will get us. And we're going to need an engine. That is the Reliant liquid fuel engine. We swivel. So these two numbers, ASL and VAC on the thrust.
Means what?
So ASL is around sea level or about sea level. So it has less thrust at sea level than it does in the vacuum of space, which you would expect. But some are better than others. So like this one has 240 in the vacuum of space. But I think the deal is this one doesn't swivel. So if it doesn't swivel, you can't rotate yourself on ascent. So I think we're going to use this one on the decel engine, or decelerate stage, the deorbit stage. And that gives us 811 meters per second. That's probably a little bit more than we need. So let's put the rocket down here. Let's try a different fuel tank. See if we can get away with a smaller fuel tank. Because if we 446. It's only supposed to take 1,000 to go from ascent
Just leave that
to circle.
fuel tank hanging out there.
We'll get rid of that fuel tank. Well, we'll probably use them later, but alright, now we have a decoupler from that.
Looks like a little bitty rocket.
Decoupler there. Now we have, let's see, parachute, drogue, heat shield, decoupler, deorbit stage fuel and vacuum engine for around 500 dV. It's 446, sounds good. Decoupler, and then we have an orbit stage. This is supposed to give us that extra 1,000 and give us the ability to turn. So that's going to be maybe 2 big fuel tanks. Let's try. Because now it's got to push all the weight above it. And I'm going
Staging.
Yes, we will get to staging in a moment. And I'm going to color code the fuel tanks for the stages. So this is the deorbit stage, deorbit fuel tank, deorbit engine, deorbit fuel tank. This is the ascent fuel tanks, which may be 3-ish. Let's throw an engine on there and see what we got. So we want a swivel. 1137 on that stage, 446 on the descent deorbit stage. They said that we would need 1,000. That gives me a little spare, right? How much spare do you think we should add? Because if we don't get to orbit, let's maybe throw one of the smaller tanks on there just as a buffer. And they're going to be orange too.
I had somebody else come in from the dark.
Well, why not? You like me changing? Whatever. Alright. So now 1272. That gives me a little buffer on the upper stage here. Raise him up here. Alright, next one to go. We have the decoupler. The orbit stage is orange. And now we need the ascent stage. So we have a decoupler from that.
Melted Cloud said, "Good evening, what's the current mission?"
The mission is to orbit Kerbal and return safely to the surface without killing another pilot. Jeb's dead. Sadly, Jeb's dead. What'd you whip up? Well, this is what we're trying to do.
He's getting ready.
Now we need some ascent stage and some ascent fuel tanks, and then it's got to push all of that up at like ridiculous amounts. Let's see, 3, 4. How many? I'll put 3 tanks on the orbit stage. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It looks like a big ass rocket.
It's going to be. It's not easy to get to orbit, apparently. The dingus rockets were just not. Oh. Right.
I don't know. I'm in no professional field, but I absolutely love space and the exploration of it. I got about 800 hours in Kerbal and coached a few people in the past.
Well, we certainly could use help as we go. We're just experimenting. This is the first time we're going to seriously engineer it. We got notes and all. See? Notes. Alright.
This is like about our 5th hour.
Yeah, something like that. Alright, so now we got a bunch of fuel tanks on the ascent stage.
Well, he is a software systems engineer.
Yeah. Once I found out where I could find the right numbers to do anything in actual engineering. Alright, so that's our core stage of the ascent. And it needs an atmospheric engine with a swivel on it. Gonna need a swivel. And that will help us guide and give us our arc. Let's see, what does that give us? That only gives us 932, so we're going to need more fuel.
The Delta 5 update really made Kerbal super approachable to a wide range of people.
So apparently they didn't give you the numbers ahead of time, you had to literally do the calculations yourself. Which is sum up the total of all the masses in front of the engine, divide by the thrust of the engine, assuming it's 100% thrust all the time. All that kind of calculation. Doable, but yeah. Otherwise I'd have a spreadsheet program up instead of just a notepad. So we're going to throw some extra fuel tanks at it, at our ascent stage here. That gets us to 12, so we need another 800. 8 plus 5, 13. 1,300 meters per second, and we're going to get that from boosters. But first, we need fins on our stage, yes?
I don't see no fans.
Here come the fins. Big old fins. Fins.
After orbit, what are the long-term goals? Follow in the footsteps of early NASA, or I have no idea what that means.
I guess that's the Russian cosmonaut program.
Russian cosmonaut.
I'm more or less mimicking the NASA one because that's the one I know. So, or just basically going with what the game has at this point. So now we have that. We got some fins, and that lowered our total thrust because we threw some weight on it, right? So now we need to make.
What's the thrust to weight ratio
of the launch stage?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're talking about. That's the decoupler right there, right? Oh, here's how we can tell. There's the decoupler. So this whole mess. That's just the fuel tanks. Is it going to come out of here? Where do we find the thrust to weight ratio? Is it in the engineering report?
Is it a TLA?
Yes.
Thrust to weight.
Where is that going to be found? I see the.
You can click the blue Delta 5 tab to find out.
Ah, there we go. 0.94. That means we're not getting off the ground. Gotta have more thrust than weight, right? So we need some boosters. That's pretty much a given.
Well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thanks. Then we got all
Chunky
the
rocket.
We're gonna do 3 boosters. We're gonna do 3 small boosters, or yeah, I guess. Sure, why not? Chunky. So that's a bad place for decouplers. That's probably better. Maybe a little up higher. Guess it depends on the size of our booster. Booster. Big old thumper booster. Let's see what that'll do to us.
Do you have a part mass limit, or have you upgraded facilities already?
I don't think I've completely upgraded facilities.
No.
I did the launch pad so that I could launch these bigger guys, but don't think I've done much else. Gotta have some aerodynamics now.
You just
All
started.
Yeah, I know, right? So let's see. Of the boosters, we get that. That gives me a 1.85, nearly twice the thrust to weight ratio. And that one would give me 0.75 by itself if it were fired alone and not the boosters. So we got probably too many boosters. Because if we go too far into orbit, we won't be able to deorbit. Oh, jeez. So looking pretty tall.
Got any struts?
Struts.
Apparently not.
Not that I'm aware of. I've seen them, but I haven't used them. I hate when it attaches the boosters to the core and not the decouplers. It's just not useful. That's
To
okay.
stiffen the SRBs.
Ah. The fins going away. That's going away. We're going to throw the fins back on, but only 4 of them. Only 4, I say. But with 4. And then we're going to throw the coupler back on, but only 2. Is that what the struts are for? I've seen them, and I haven't used them yet. Where are the struts? Payload. Structural, there we go. Pigeon toe and reconnect, decouple separate. And I get what you mean now.
Nope, you're using the right words.
Close enough. I'm not sure how I would attach these necessarily. That doesn't look like a good idea. I don't know, I don't think I need that big a thruster engine either, so let's try a couple of hammer boosters instead. What do we got there? 1.59.
If that's a box jet, you really don't want those for obvious reasons.
Well, that's the only one I got.
We just started.
I know, we're really like in, I don't know what level of mission it is exactly, but I think...
Somebody else came in to see us. Hello.
Hello. So this makes it seem like these 2 firing by themselves are more than enough to get us off the ground. But for here, let's do this so that it will do the calculations for us. I can't get a hold of the rocket.
Too big.
Oh, stuck them into the ground.
Have you got any science accumulated?
We have some. That's what gave us the couple of extra bits, extra parts. I don't know that we have much at the moment, though. Let's see. So if we need to know... So our first stage, this and this combined, 1190 and 418 combined, though, is going to be 15 some odd. That we need 2,500 to get off the ground, eh? Other booster. Gonna need a bigger booster. Do 982, 748, 84 rather. See, yeah, that's why I don't trust me with calculations. 784 and 9. That's still not 2,500, isn't it? So 2 boosters too little, 3 boosters too much. Then 4 boosters ought to be enough. Right?
I don't know.
I don't know either, but better to have extra boosters than too little, right? That's why they produced the more booster pack.
Sure, why not?
Come here, you. Well, maybe
This
that's the
would be
best
a pain
place.
in the butt.
Maybe that is the best place to attach them.
Right there where they're...
Where they want to kind of automatically attach. I should do this separately in 4 by mode. That's what I should do. Otherwise, they could be off and stuff. I think they would use that.
It's hard to orbit without the Terrier engine, small and efficient.
Ah.
Built for moon landing and orbital. The swivel engines are really heavy.
Well, maybe we can save some mass by combining the orbit engine, orbit stage, and deorbit stage. So if we get rid of, if we get rid of,
So, don't be too surprised if you have difficulty.
so yeah, we're familiar with.
That's all we've had
having
is difficulty so far.
All right, so now we have 1 upper stage that's supposed to get us to orbit and out of orbit. Into and out of orbit. And that's supposed to be 1,000 to circle and some amount left over to deorbit. Better to have extra fuel than too little. Now our first stage doesn't have nearly enough thrust. Terrier engine. Well, hopefully we'll create enough science from this trip to get a Terrier engine.
We don't have the Terrier engine.
I know. I spoiled myself with sandbox mode. Why am I always zoomed so far out?
Hi, new people coming into the room.
Okay. Now for the bumper. Make it like really powerful. And then just see what happens. Better.
Oh. We're all waiting.
Everybody waiting on a launch, huh?
Yes.
Ah,
It's under advanced rocketry and it costs 45 science, by the way.
45.
The Terrier. Yeah, we don't
That's
have that yet.
expensive. Okay, so my nozzles don't light up. Close enough.
The pad is go, the launch window is passing.
Launch window.
It's a launch window.
That's the time between you can take off and you'll line up with everything properly, and the time in which if you take
I didn't
off.
even know that.
And then, it's an instantaneous launch window because we're just going for orbit. We're not targeting anybody. Alright, this has got some crap load of thrust. This ought to work between these two. Random arbitrary, yes. But at least it's daylight out. That's my
Just
launch
for
window
fun.
is daylight. Alright, so we've got 2.14 yoinks. I think the idea on that was that we quit clicking on them, left clicking on them.
Oh, come on!
Is there a way to like lock an engine in?
Hey, the music just started.
Yeah,
It's definitely gonna be a test flight. Yeah. I just hope he doesn't kill another astronaut.
we're gonna kill the women in STEM. What? Alright, so we're gonna run down the thrust of this, which was a suggestion from last time.
He can revert, you know. No, he doesn't know
What,
that.
revert? There's an undo.
There's no reason for manslaughter. Oh!
Well, wouldn't it be
Oh.
carbon slaughter? Alright. See, look at it.
Jebediah was with us from the beginning. I feel bad that he's gone.
He was. Well, it doesn't look like it's too particularly connected to that decoupler. Look at that, but okay. Alright. Enough sciencing. Time to launch, eh?
There's two options during flight. Return to launch or return to, I don't know what VAB is. You lose both if you quick save during flight.
Yeah, if I had just thought to escape right
believe
after
me. He woke me up in the middle of the night to tell me that.
So, unless it's disabled for realism, well, we're going to do the realism because I'm a real engineer and been in flight safety for years, and it's not real if nobody can die. Craft has too many parts.
I think craft has too many parts.
Ah!
Is that what it said?
Yes!
Unable to launch.
You will regret
Regret
this.
this decision.
What? Why do I?
I'm already regretting it.
How many parts do I have now? Well, first off, we need to stage, like, serious stage. Let's see, this engine.
You did ask about your part count, didn't you?
We got the center core.
You're pretty
and the
smart.
boosters going off. We're gonna decouple. No, we don't want to decouple them.
Does it tell you how many you can have or not?
I guess that's in the engineering report here, isn't it? 36 of 30 parts. Need to get rid of 6 parts?
Jesus.
Alright. Goodbye, fins. We're gonna just trust that we've got our thrust and aerodynamics right. 32 parts. How many little engines, or how many little fuel tanks do I have?
Realism in Kerbal is as painful as real life. The cost of replacing a Kerbal goes up wildly each time, and you use funding and credibility. Yeah, I'm very sad about Jebediah dying and we never get him back.
I hate when I can't see where I'm doing. There we go. Alright. So, that's at least enough to get into orbit, hopefully enough to deorbit.
Most people end up killing their Kerbals off for the first time only to find that they're bankrupt and being indicted by the federal grand jury for gross criminal negligence. Well, they do respond eventually in default.
Oh.
It gives me hope.
Yeah, hope for the future. 31! Alright, drogue shoot goes. Alright. Engineer report, 30 of 30. We've got at least 3178. So 4 rockets fire. That engine goes with that, with those 4. Then we need to decouple the solid boosters.
Launch crew looks visibly worried.
Hey, we're going to engineer it right this time. Then we disconnect the solid boosters. Then we disconnect first stage.
Range, safety lights, a cigarette. I really hope I'm wrong this time.
So we should decouple and fire that next engine at the same time, right?
I don't think you're wrong.
And then, oh no, we don't want that one to fire at the same time, no. We want this one and this one to fire at the same time. Right? Yeah.
That's a staging.
Yeah, we're going to get the stage. So, center core engine for boosters, decouple boosters, decouple first stage, ascent stage, fire second stage. We're going to go into orbit with the second stage. We're going to orbit around, then we're going to slow down with the second stage. When we're done slowing down, we're going to disconnect that second stage, and we got a parachute to land. Sound like a plan?
And it's got a heat shield.
And it's got a heat shield.
Alright.
So, since we're supposed to be
Good
going
luck.
really fast, now let's see what missions did we have anyway. Our contracts. Orbit Kerbal, that's our only contract. No particular details of the goal, that's good. Keep it simple.
Godspeed, Valentina.
Valentina. Cough break. I don't know. We're out in the middle of the night. I don't like flying at night.
I guess we will. Hi there.
You're saying I'm gonna like dump my fuel or something? Woo, waiting for daylight. Now we've frozen all our seals. Alright. Alright, now for extra safety, I put the staging button away from the fuel buttons. Craft is now using internal power. That is clear. Who wants to count it down?
I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1. Blast off.
Here we go. We're burning solid and liquid fuel. When we get oh, good.
Oh, sorry, I beat you to it. Valentina.
Not quite sure why it's rotating.
Telemetry downlinking.
Alright, I'm afraid we're going to get too much atmospheric heating. Going Mach.
Roll program is
Status unknown. I'm having trouble rolling.
Craft appears nominal, but
Alright, we're throttling back for this thick part of the atmosphere. We're going to not burn up going up in the atmosphere. We hope. Solid fuels are going to be expended here shortly.
SRB
Getting some heating.
separation.
SRB
solid.
separation soon.
What is that?
Solid rocket booster. And
He said, like you should have already done that.
trying to.
That is not enabled.
Ah, that's why. Alright, so that's good. We want to be going slightly sideways at this point. So that we
Oh, this is lovely.
Alright, let's check how we're doing.
Efficient off nominal.
Alright. We're going to shut down engines and wait for apogee. Oh, I said shut down engines. See?
Apogee readout. Confirmed.
Alright, so what we're going to want to be...
I just want to know, is she gonna die?
I hope not. I'll try and get to prograde here. Tokyo Drift in orbit. That's kind of what it looks like. Now, if we can get over here to prograde, alright.
Go to orbital boost insertion.
That's what we're looking for. If we can get ourselves stabilized on prograde. Come on. Battery check.
Battery check? Where's the battery?
Resources. Ablator, mono repellent. Electric charge. We're draining fast on our electric charge.
How can you stop it?
Well, I'm using the reaction wheels to spinning them up to keep myself in the right spot.
Control sparingly.
Alright, well, we're more or less at prograde. We're going to wait for apogee, or apoapsis. And when we get to apoapsis, which it doesn't give me a timing for getting to apoapsis, that's no fun. Alright, we're going to burn prograde until we've got a circular orbit. And apparently we don't have the ability to tell that in advance with the guidance because we're not in sandbox mode. So
you really screwed yourself up by going in sandbox mode.
I know, I got myself all bratted up, expecting things to work. Alright, now that we're getting a little closer, let's spin ourselves in place, which is hard to do because we were using that big engine. The hard way, which is fire full thruster.
Go for orbital insertion burn. There's no music, by the way.
It's really loud. Ah, I ran out of fuel.
Oh.
Oh well, second stage goes away. Maybe. Oh, I forgot we had another stage. This is the stage I can't go too far with. Got to be ready to cut it off once we get in orbit.
Status nominal.
We're getting there. We're almost falling faster than we're falling. And fuel, yay! That's a roughly circular orbit, is it not?
And this is the stage you need for return and re-entry.
Yes, and luckily I have
if he
fuel
doesn't
left.
burn out,
PE rocket, or
read out.
Oh, we achieved that goal. We have achieved. Yay! We have vindicated the rocket program.
Yay!
Stage view. All right.
Yay! We've done something. We've done something.
We're sitting here in orbit around Kerbal. We can go take a look at where our orbiting the planet here. Let's go ahead and get ourselves rotated back. What's our lowest altitude? That's over here. That would be 96,000 meters. Does that mean we're still going to scrape the atmosphere? I don't know all my atmospheric levels. Above 80K. Woo!
Well, thanks.
Yay!
Thank
Glad
you
to
for
know.
the info. just don't want to kill another Kerbal.
No, no more killing Kerbals. Conduct science.
Oh, I barely hear the music now.
Alright. I'll knock that up just a little. You hear it a little better?
70 kilometers is the atmospheric limit on Kerbal.
See, well, let's put that in our notes, shall we?
Yeah.
70 kilometer.
Get too close to it and you can't warp, it sucks.
Yeah, I saw that before. I have in the sandbox mode, I have a 4 Kerbal in a horrible orbit, and if I go back in there, he's going to orbit around 2 or 3 more times and completely burn up because he's like scraping the top of the atmosphere on his close approach, and he's a horrible elliptical orbit. So he's going super fast when he comes close, and he's going to scrape the atmosphere. And if I just go back in there, he's probably going to burn. So I've got him on total hold until I learn enough to save him, maybe. So meanwhile, let's see, crew report.
Conduct science checklist. Hello, new people.
Crew report, I got that one. What else we got? I didn't have any extra science on board. Why are we always
that said toggle tongue.
What?
Toggle torque.
Torque. Toggle torque. Alright, well, I believe that's all we can do science-wise. I'm not sure.
Conduct science checklist. What's a science
you
checklist?
quit. So there's like a shift and a mouse wheel when we're in the VAB. And in here, it's just a mouse wheel. Right? So I keep hitting shift, which unfortunately is turn on the engine. So we went and made our orbit a little bit bigger. Or weirder shaped anyway.
Crew report. Any attached science EVA report, if possible, and or observations.
I don't think we can EVA yet.
You can always shut down the engines for safety.
Shut them down? How do you shut them down? So I don't accidentally throttle up, you mean? Then I'll probably forget to turn them back on. Alright, we're in an orbit, but we right-click the engine. Shut down engine. Ooh, that was a little burp. Ooh! Alright, so now if I left shift, all I do is increase the throttle, but it doesn't actually fire the engine. That's a bonus. So I can target my throttle well ahead of the maneuver. So now we're in orbit. Again with the stupid shift button. So we're in orbit. Now we want to go around the planet a few times, right?
It's super useful when landed on a celestial body with low gravity, or for important stuff preventing takeoff or ruining orbit.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Etc.
So now she's very rapidly orbiting. So we want to get at least one orbit in. 38-minute orbit. And then since I don't really care where I land on the planet, I'm just going to stop the time warp when I'm roughly retrograde. And my engine is set up for deorbit.
Have you done a re-entry? What's your planned re-entry protocol? Don't burn up.
Don't burn up. That's my plan for yes. So here, I spun myself around to where I'm nearly stupid shift button. So I spun myself around so I'm nearly retrograde, which means that when we fire the engines, we will slow ourselves down. We're also on the dark side of the planet. That's not fun.
He has safe altitudes and speeds memorized pretty much. Available upon request.
Alright, good.
Thank you very much. Very gracious of you.
orbiting at 2096. How much do I need to deorbit? I guess we'll see. I can't do the maneuvers, so I'm just gonna have to guess. I'm just gonna spend the rest of my fuel deorbiting, and we'll land where we land. Hopefully, we won't. If I do it in this mode, I won't make it too sharp a approach. I think.
Since we are in low, medium orbit.
Yeah. Do not ballistic descent.
I know. We've done that too many times.
Well, yeah, but so I plan to slow down first with the stage that I have left here. Just don't want to do it in the dark.
Hi, new people.
Aero capture for safety rather than just diving right in. So I'm assuming you mean slow down and have a nice gentle arc around with a fair amount of atmosphere. So that we're not lawn darting, but at the same time we're not... Yeah.
I have other stuff, but I don't want to take over everything.
That's okay. Suggest a way, doesn't mean we'll follow it. Because sometimes it's just fun to see what happens. Thanks. If you want, I'll put it up somewhere. I made 2 versions. They're mirrored because the camera's mirrored. In fact, I can't even tell where my... There I am. I just gave myself a temporary badge because, you know...
Because he can.
They're not sure that I'm worthy of my position yet. Even lower can be risky, but for survival, about 18,000 meters. Woo! So we got to get down to 18,000 meters per second, you mean? I believe.
Wow.
So we're at 21 and we got to get down to 18,000 before we get rid of this stage. I believe that's
why Valentina's face is flying off.
She's so happy, yay!
Not per second.
Altitude?
No, not per second.
I'm confused. We're gonna activate the engine here.
18.
Oh, okay. 18,000 meters is altitude is the lowest. I don't know. Now I'm all nervous because we can't lose Valentina. We will have no more pilots. A really bad women in STEM story to tell the young Kerbans.
Ballistic descent is fun though.
Is it true?
It's fun, but it's not cool losing your astronaut.
Well, let's see. What's the ablator for otherwise? Sure, of course, right? Why would you have a heat shield if you weren't going to burn it off? Otherwise, it's just a bunch of extra weight. Dwarf Fortress. I'm not familiar with that one. Alright, we're retrograde. We're just waiting on the daylight. Let's warp just slightly because it's taking a while for me right
Hi, new people in the room.
here. Hello. Yeah. Unfortunately, the time warp messes with your stability.
Can I ask you about your background in aero engineering also? Hi.
Aerospace engineering? Sure.
Oh,
But not during staging.
do you have deadly acceleration here? Oh, do we have deadly acceleration here?
Deadly acceleration? I'm not sure on that.
I think
Deadly.
it's totally one of those things where
Oh,
you
maybe.
seem fine until suddenly, oh yeah, two
Yeah.
force limits on for parts.
I have wobbled a rocket apart or two by having too much aerodynamic. Alright, we're coming up on retrograde. Who's ready for the engine? We ready for the deorbit burn? Who's ready for a deorbit burn?
Deorbit burn.
Alright. Here we go.
What's it gonna do?
It's gonna slow it down.
Oh, what do you do?
So that slows us down and brings our descent down to like there.
It's like you're speeding up.
See how that's probably good enough. See how we're now going to be landing on this continent.
You'll see.
Oh, I didn't have much liquid fuel left to slow down anyway, so might as well drain the tank. Oh, high load warning.
You had plenty.
I know. Should I slow it down more?
Well,
wouldn't that just make it a steeper descent?
Val's a trained pilot, so she can take a few G's. And you just tried to go straight down almost.
It didn't look that straight down. That doesn't look too horrible.
Oh no, I'm sure she's...
I didn't want to spend a lot of time...
Safe fuel burned at about 35 kilometers. You got this. Sure.
Alright, at 35 kilometers above the surface, we're going to burn whatever leftover fuel we got. And it looks like we're going to land pretty close to the desert landing site, or launch site.
Could be shallow it out with a pro-grade burn. That's why I mentioned burning on map view. I guess you can do a retro rocket style landing. He thinks he's Elon Musk.
Oh no, we're not ready for that. But yeah, let's do a little pro-grade burn just to balance it out a little. Why not? Get closer to the... Alright, well that's about the end of that useful stage.
Oh Lord.
Alright, are we ready to drop this and get ourselves prepared for... Alright. Bye-bye. Terminal descent! Ah! Of course, I don't know where that's going to land over Kerbin's land surface.
That thing I wondered. Go for safety separation. Worst case scenario, Val can jump out and parachute. I don't think she can yet. Yeah, we haven't got all that stuff yet.
Well, she does have a parachute, but and I have seen people do that. But keep our rear end to the atmosphere here.
I'm standing by for rear entry 2. I mean, re-entry 2. Sorry.
Don't be promising things now. Right. Obviously not a good time to stage the parachute.
That was a Freudian slip, seriously.
Well, we shall see.
You may swap the nav ball to surface mode if you want to know how the air about to hit you, not
come on! We got that ablator going!
Aww.
Come on, ablator, do your job! There it is, he's only
Come
burning
on, man,
up a little
don't
bit.
burn up. Valentina's happy.
It's looking good so far. Got all sorts of ablator.
Surface mode when opening. Craft appears nominal.
Looks low.
Does it? It looks like it's on fire to me. She's not screaming though.
Well, there's our deorbit engine, ascent and deorbit engine going into the crash site ahead of us.
That's kind of the idea.
Yeah. Well, that ablator seems to be doing pretty well. We got plenty of... I don't know how long she's going to sit here in radio blackout though.
altimeter is currently set to sea level. So if you smack any of that schmack, you're gonna smack.
Yes, this is the problem with sea level altimeters, right? Are we going too fast still? Looks like we're going too fast for our parachute.
Oh,
we're good.
No.
Staging parachute early this time.
You can't change it, he said.
Currently set to sea
You
level.
click on the waves by the altimeter.
The waves.
It changes the to terrain. It changes to terrain.
Surface.
I really need to put my glasses on. Sorry, everybody,
Sure.
I can't read.
Blue
Blue
waves.
waves.
And yeah. Oh, these guys. Yeah. There we go. So, I see. Little terrain thing.
I don't. He does. I don't know. Poop.
There's various stuff going boom somewhere. I'm not sure where.
Oopsie.
Oh yeah, we can be done with SAS, I guess. Yeah, just
What's
dangle.
SAS? San Antonio shoes.
No. Separately addressable shape? Nope. It is stability assist system, I guess. Yay, nice gentle landing.
Hey, your boosters made it back. What kind of engineering work do you do?
Software for avionics. Safety critical, the kind of stuff that is not 737 MCAS. Not done right. But the other stuff that is done right, the autopilots and all the stuff that people don't even know is being used most of the time. Alright, 200 meters to go. Valentina's alive. True. I think I had it set for 1,000 meters. But it didn't really unfurl till about 500. I think we were going excessively fast.
Well, we've blown up a lot of stuff, so...
True. We went through a whole series of rockets named Dingus because they were a Dingus rocket.
Well, there's someone that's...
Well,
that's incredible. I'm not sure what specifics you can share, but I'm hoping to get into software engineering myself. I've always loved things that fly. Aww.
what went pop? She's still alive. What went boom? My monopropellant? Did I have not a big enough parachute? She's gonna EVA just for giggles. Woohoo!
Craft is the...
EVA report.
He will definitely give you some advice.
Yeah. Oh, you can detach the heat shield. Oh, actually, yeah, I should have put a decoupler between that and the heat shield, so after it was done, I could have tossed it, and then I would have saved some weight on the parachute. There you go. Plan for next time, right?
Put it on the spreadsheet.
The problem is I already ran out of parts. I had too many parts for my rocket. Oh, it absorbs impact. Well, I suppose. Alright, so I take it we have to put her back in board, I believe, and then we can recover the vessel.
Is it working?
Mission success!
Yay!
We have science and more science.
Yay!
Recovery EVA in the deserts. Crew report while in space. And recovery of the returned 17, total of 34.
I love the faces
Yeah, I know.
in the chat. It's so awesome.
Valentina.
After not dying in space!
Yes. So clearly the next package is going to be the hero
I threw up
Valentina.
only twice. Woohoo!
We got some mono propellant that I don't know why we keep taking into space with us. That apparently we always just bring it back. Parachute, command pod. I'm not sure about which real world Valentina. I know they are all named after various real folk. Hey, 1 star. Jeb never got that far.
Aww.
He never got any experience points either. You just got a memorial on the front lawn of the Kerbal Space Center. Apparently.
No reputation, no.
No increase in my reputation? Really? Let's see, these are all the buildings.
I don't know her. Oh, the first woman in space.
Valentina, some Russian name, maybe, was it? We'll make it cancel.
Person currently only sole female
female
pilot during the
Soyuz.
Suez mission.
Soyuz. That's
Soyuz.
The all the Soyuz you've always heard of.
I'm not going up in that thing. I'm like, I guess I'm not coming down in that thing. But
Right. Alright, we have succeeded. Yay! Let's go spend our science on some parts. What do we got? Like 34.5 science. We got advanced rocketry, too much. General construction, too much. Aviation, too much. Flight control, everything's too much. All the research is too dang high.
that's no.
Well, so much
Gotta
for that.
go out there
We gotta
and
go
do
get
another
10
one.
more science, apparently. Alright, well, our goal for today was this mission. That was the main thing. Yes, and now we have a reliable manned rocket. The Jeb 1. Local science around the facility. Just by, like, clicking on the tracking station or something?
You can gather local Kerbal science around the facility. You can just pick up temp and surface samples around the compound. You didn't know that.
Tended sort of walking around the pad, huh? So if I go to the launch pad,
And what?
launch vehicle.
Failed, clear, reset.
Fully operational, nothing needed. Vehicle building. What's this here?
How do you walk around the launch pad?
Like I have to get out, have him get out of his capsule and walk around the launch pad before he takes off. Is that the idea?
It counts as sample collection. Practice, I guess. You can get a new science each time you
Yeah,
update
rover
the
or
facility part.
Or
Each
rolling
separate
vessel.
department counts as its own. Whatever that word is.
Biome, yeah. Biome is just an area where you can do different stuff. And it counts that you did it in a building, you did it outside, you did it in orbit.
I'll be back.
Alright. I don't know if I have any rolly parts and stuff. Let's see. Let's update our notes here. 70 kilometers to the top of the atmosphere. We have jet class rockets, we got capsule, parachute, couldn't afford a drug, heat shield, maybe another decoupler here and a heat shield. Not the only one who takes information notes. Well, it got a little too complicated once I did more than just jump up and land. Plus, everything's notes and checklists and aviation and rocketry. Oh, the heat shield has its own decoupler. This is true. I forget. So that's just one of the stages we need to remember in our staging sequence. Let's see. Yeah, right click on it and do it after you're done. Software engineer with interest in aerospace. Well, have you looked into being a pilot, general aviation pilot? That's a good place to start. There's all sorts of free information about general aviation pilots. It gives you all the terminology that's being used. Yeah, true. I saw that. It's not effectively a attachment point for a lower stage. And if you're interested in being a software engineer, there's a million and one tutorials. I don't know how far into software you are. There's all sorts of levels of software engineering. Desktop, web, deeply embedded like I do. The hardware that runs on the actual spacecraft. That kind of thing. Oh yeah, GA pilot, certainly. Sometimes there's various free ground schools, free or very inexpensive ground schools, give you all the basics, give you a couple of practice flights, that kind of thing. When you say you're in school, what level would that be? High school, middle school, some other variant of a middle or a high school in some other country? Oh, cool.
That sounds like something cool.
Yeah, I'm totally enamored with OBS Studio for being able to put these things together. The news intro had, I don't know, 15 different elements in it or something. Yeah, sophomore in college, certainly there's computer labs at most colleges. Sometimes they're restricted to who's taking the courses and sometimes not. So if it's not restricted to who's taking the computer science courses, then you can get on some higher end equipment. I would guess that most computers, or most universities, if they're going to have some computer for you to access, it's going to be one of the higher end systems. So I think we got all our notes for next time. I think that was good. Probably our next mission is going to have to be what? We got to orbit the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, yet more Delta V. We're going to need more Delta V. Because then not only do we have to circle, but we then have to have a transfer orbit to get close enough to the moon and get slowed down around the moon to get into orbit around the moon. Docking. Maybe we'll do a docking encounter. And then after you go around the moon, maybe you get a free return kind of thing where you do sort of a figure eight between the Earth and the moon. So you don't have to thrust to get thrown back towards the Earth. A little above my pay grade right now. No, Apollo 11. No, I think the next one. So I don't actually remember the history. I know Apollo 1 was not a good one.
Right.
Did not turn out well. I'm not sure 2, 3, 4, all those kinds of numbers. They had gaps, and I can't remember. But essentially, the first step was suborbital. Well, first off, send up the monkey, right? After the monkey, then it's suborbital, then orbital, then all of the staging or docking to disconnect the craft and turn it around and reconnect and all like that. And then after they proved they could do that, then they went up and went towards the moon, flew around, came back. Then it's go up, go around the moon, fly around, land on the moon, take off from the moon, head back to the Earth, or Kerbal, actually, I guess. So there's a whole lot of steps, and like I said, I can't remember which Apollo did which step really. Send up a calculator, then a dog, then a chimp, and then a cocky pilot and spark pilot, the scientist pilot with a calculator. Yes. That might be part of it, part of the plan. We didn't have fins on the ascent stage. We got away without that, and the boosters because our part count was too high. Send the fish up. I don't remember sending up fish. Yeah, the fish had to be the most confused. What are we doing floating in the water, looking out at nothing? I mean, so did they get the fish back alive? Because they let the dog die. The Russians.
That's horrible.
I know, right? Alright. Well, I think we're good to go.
Thank you guys. Or
Thanks a
women.
lot. Oh,
or,
yeah, the fish
I don't
died
know
too.
if you're men or women. Thank you all.
Thank you, all the various humanoids that watched. Sure thing.
We'll be back on the weekend.
Probably. That'll be it. So we'll leave you with the breaking news.
It's horrible. I'm so sad. Bye, guys.
Bye.
I've just been handed this statement. Kerbal Jebediah Kerman's capsule malfunctioned after re-entry. His parachute failed to fully deploy. The capsule impacted the surface at a high rate of speed. There could be no survival. Thank you.